We must take the full responsibility as a ministry, especially the Ministry of Health. It's unacceptable, and this is unacceptable. And the investigation must be very independent in all the senses.
The inquiry shouldn't be approached with the sense that already somebody is guilty already. We go in it with an open mind, that the partners we are meeting are also interested to safeguard the integrity of this country, to healthcare delivery of this country.
The Health Committee, which is assigned to carry out the parliamentary inquiry, had already begun investigating the matter prior to this extraordinary session. The Namfo Nyanija constituency, Amadou Kamara, is the chair of the Health Committee, and he assures the NAMS that his committee will judiciously carry out its mandate. The Health Minister, Dr. Ahmadou Lamin Samate, is given a chance to make a statement to the Assembly at the end of the debate.
I believe that our country has been assaulted. This is an aggression against our people from greedy, unscrupulous people. The manufacturing, distribution, and importation of contaminated drugs is criminal, and government sees it that way. Government is on the verge of setting up a commission of inquiry into the issue. This, we believe, will help in identifying the problems and come up with recommendations to deal with the current problem and avert any future recurrences.
On the cause and circumstance of death of the 70 children, there are 2 ongoing investigations by the Health Ministry and its partners and the Gambia Police Force. The setting up of a commission of inquiry and a parliamentary probe into the AKI outbreak and death will increase the number of investigations to 4, all seeking answers to what led to the alarming loss of children to acute kidney injury. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
We apologize for some of the technical difficulties we are having at this moment, especially which has to do with the first story that you've just had there, reported by Mohamed Lamin Choi. Let's move on with the news. The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare on Wednesday expressed sadness over the death of at least 70 children attributed to AKI. Fatou Kinte was speaking at a press conference about the achievements registered by the government in fighting discrimination against women following her recent participation at the UN Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women Summit. More in this report by Ansumane Sonyasi.
The Minister's participation at the recently held 6th Periodic State Report on the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, in Switzerland has been touted as a moment to savor in Gambia's drive to ensure women's empowerment is given all the attention and necessary support. Following a positive review and encouraging review of Gambia's periodic review from all CEDAW member states who participated in the 6th Convention, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Welfare, Fatou Kinte, briefs the press on the Gambia's achievements. However, she begins by expressing sadness over the death of at least 70 children to acute kidney injuries linked to medicines manufactured by Indian-based Maiden Pharmaceuticals Company, and emphasizes that government remains resolute to ensuring that those found culpable are held accountable and will implement strong measures to avoid a recurrence of such an unfortunate incident.
Because these children who have died are Gambian children, and together we sympathize with the families and friends of the lost ones. And we are going to come up with a program. In fact, it has already started. My ministry, the Director of Children is under my ministry, and they have started doing programs on television to provide psychosocial support to the families and friends of those who have lost their loved ones. And at the cabinet level, we'll also be reaching out to these families to provide psychosocial support and show our sympathy.
Turning her attention to Gambia's global recognition at the CEDAW Convention, she says government also appreciates the positive and encouraging review of the UN Committee on CEDAW. And as she highlights some of the achievements, she reveals that challenges were also identified and further reveals government's commitment to addressing those challenges.
In 2019, the Gambia registered one of the highest commitments for addressing gender equality and the empowerment of women. The establishment of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare culminated in the formulation and implementation of the National Strategy and Policy on FGMC 2021-2030. The National Action Plan on the UN Resolution 1325 on Women, Peace and Security, the Persons with Disability Act 2020, the Women Enterprise Fund Act 2020, and the Ministry Strategic and Investment Plan 2021 to 2025.
She also revealed that government has fulfilled its obligation by reporting and updating the Select Committee on the progress and achievements in implementing the convention to eliminate all forms of discrimination against women in the Gambia. Antoine Nyasi for KTV News.
The Directorate of Procurement, Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs on Wednesday kick-started 3 days training for procurement officers to enhance their efficiency in accordance with procurement laws. Alusise reports.
Speaking at the start of the convergence, Dr. John Solomon Jatta, Acting Director, Directorate of Public Procurement, Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, recognized the role of procurement officers as important and relevant, bearing in mind that a chunk of the annual budget is directed to procurement of products and services. Dr. Jatta said the workshop will help participants discuss the gains made, current challenges, and map out a way forward. The forum will also expose participants to the amended laws of procurement in order to be effective.
We have a minister who appreciates procurement and who understands what it takes for procurement to make an impact on a country's development. So he has been really helpful and really appreciative of what you guys are doing and what you can do. What I can tell you is that we cannot be effective without reading the Act. We cannot be effective without knowing exactly what the regulations say.
Maurice J. Gomez, Head of Training, the Gambia Public Procurement Institute, GPPI, described the work of procurement as a noble profession that must be cherished. He reminded the attendees that the principle of procurement talks about efficiency and effectiveness to realize value for money.
Money you are going to oversee to execute contract is taxpayers' money. If value is delivered so that the ordinary man in Koina or Katong will be able to feel that yes, at least much money has been saved, or in the road construction there is value for money, the hospital I can be able to walk 3 kilometers is worth it because there is value. But if there is no value to your work, everybody does the way they feel like, it will not be with you, because 60 to 70% of taxpayers' money goes to procurement. And I guess you all know that. If everyone is asking, what can I do for my country, we will move forward as a nation.
It is hoped that at the end of this convergence, these procurement officers will be well equipped to conduct procurement at their different departments and ministries without compromising their guiding principles and in line with procurement standards. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alusise.
The end of that report takes us to a commercial break, and when we return, we still have some more local news stories for you. Do stay tuned.
I needed that. With LG ThinQ, my InstaView refrigerator is like my own personal assistant in the kitchen. Now, my foods and fruits can remain fresh for a very long time because with LG ThinQ, I can turn on the Hygiene Fresh. That removes up to 99.9% germs and increases shelf life. So, I forgot to properly close my fridge, but the LG ThinQ is always up to date. My life made easy with LG ThinQ.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Welcome back, and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. The United States Agency for International Development, UNAID, Dakar team are in the Gambia to assess funds provided to the Gambia Red Cross to support this July floods. The agency also donated non-food items to the flood victims. Loli M. Camara has the rest of the story.
This visit came following the USAID provision of $250,000 in humanitarian assistance to the Red Cross in September this year for the 30th and 31st July 2022 flood victims. Aissatou Diouf, the Deputy Disaster Management Coordinator for the Gambia Red Cross, while thanking USAID for the support, also pointed out some of the areas of their intervention.
Funds from USAID, we would provide an additional 757 households with cash for shelter. 483 will be provided with cash for shelter for 1 month, which is 7,500, and another 274 will be provided with cash for shelter for two months, which is $15,000. In addition, 350 households would also be provided with non-food items in the form of mattresses, bed sheets, and also hygiene kits.
Alassane Senghor, the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society, stressed that there needs to be more preparedness as lessons were learned during the past flood, which will help them to build flood resilience in coming years. At the Red Cross office in Kotu, the Red Cross team distributed mattresses, bed sheets, and household, among other items, to 30 flood victims. The Secretary General of the Red Cross Society expressed appreciation to all donors, both locally and internationally.
We have also received a lot of support locally from people, from Gambians who have given us something. We always ask them, where do you want the money to go into, food items or cash or non-food items? And once that is done, we also invite them to come and see how it is done, and they can have the freedom to talk, interact with the people who benefit from that. That's the only way trust can be maintained.
Our Tangara, a beneficiary, spoke about the importance of the donation. These materials will be very useful to my family and me, because I lost everything in the floods. So getting support from this institution is worth commending. Shing Por, Senior Regional Humanitarian Assistance Officer for USAID, had this to say.
So we were very sad to hear about how the communities here and the households were affected by floods this summer. We're very happy we're able to partner with the Gambian Red Cross Society to provide some cash assistance to help people, pay for rent or get through, their desperate times, to provide some replacement household items for, what was lost to the floods, as well as to support some basic health care and psychosocial support for those impacted by flooding.
The USAID and the Red Cross team also visited the flood victims in Kotu Erinjang for an opportunity to hear from the beneficiary victims. According to recent statistics by the Gambia Red Cross Society, 2,366 households were affected by the floods. For QTV News, Loli M. Camara.
Now, a dump site costing $1.5 million and a new waste collection truck was commissioned at Diabugu village by a community-led organization called Diabugu Hambani. The project is expected to solve the community's waste management challenges. Alhaji A.F. Jallo attended the ceremony and he filed in this report.
Indiscriminate waste dumping and burning of waste can lead to poor health, economic losses, and climate emission, which contribute to climate change. Diabugu Hambani Association, a community-led organization, is established to unify and advocate for the development of its people. Bahore Drame, the Secretary General of the association, says their objective is to bring development to the doorstep of their people. He added that the community is prepared to initiate projects to complement government efforts.
Definitely, I feel very much proud and happy, because if you are a part of any successful organization like this, and you've been successful in implementing projects after projects from one association to another, as like you rightly said, from Team Go Green, is one of the leading youth activities in this group. You can attest to that. Over planting trees every year, consecutive, and then about 90% survival rate. And if you're part of that as a coordinator, I'm very proud of that. And being part of Khambane Community Association also, we are among the first people who went out to their task force to see sites where we can have a dumping site. I was part of that until today. Alhamdulillah, we are able to happen to commission the place.
Malik Bah, the technical director of the National Environment Agency, says, although waste management is the responsibility of area councils, this initiative, he added, is complementing local council in waste collection and management.
Community of Diabugu coming together and then having their dump site, fence all over, so that they are able to manage their waste properly. This is something that is definitely very laudable, and this is really in line with the national development goals that we have, that is us living in a very healthy environment, which is a fundamental human right. So this is a very good initiative that we are very much happy. Like this is the responsibility of councils. Actually, the agency is a coordinating institution. We coordinate environmental issues, and waste component is a very fundamental component. So therefore, the community having this kind of initiative is really appreciated.
Yaya Sise, the director of planning at the Bassi Area Councils, applauds the community for their initiative. He said his council will collaborate with stakeholders to provide logistic support for proper waste management in Diabugu.
I'm indeed grateful today to see one of our taxpayers coming up with the initiative to have a dump site for the community. I've realized that environment is not only a concern to the government or the local council, but to the taxpayers. I think at this juncture, it will be very easy for the authorities to be able to control the management of waste, since citizenry are taking up the responsibility to clean their environment, in fact to create a site where this dump will be managed.
Waste collection and disposal are important to keep our environment clean. To ease the pressure on government and local council, taking ownership of some of our development projects is crucial, especially in managing the waste we generate. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alaji Ebjalo.
Nuari Diabugu Khambane. Before we end this news bulletin, let's have a recap of our main news headlines. During what is widely regarded as a national health emergency, the National Assembly has convened its third extraordinary session to debate the deaths of 70 children due to acute kidney injury. The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare on Wednesday expressed sadness over the death of at least 70 children attributed to AKI at a press briefing following her recent participation at the UN Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women Summit. The Directorate of Procurement at the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs on Wednesday kick-started 3 days training for procurement officers from various government ministries. Still on the news, the United States Agency for International Development Dakar team in the Gambia to assess funds provided to the Gambia Red Cross Society, that they have a team in the Gambia to support victims of the July floods. Also, a dump site costing $1.5 million and a new waste collection truck was commissioned at Diabugu village by a community-led organization to solve waste management challenges. But that's all in this edition of the news. Thank you very much for watching. Join us again at 10 for another bulletin.